Yay! We're live. Hi from Las Vegas. Good afternoon. How is it going? I'm Ree, and I like water. I'm really excited this week because this is the week where we finally had a breakthrough with the water formula that I've been talking about for a while. So I'm going to show you guys how to make it today, and then we're going to be able to test it beside other waters that are really popular to use in the tea industry. Which are Poland Spring. I think a lot of people use Poland Spring, and then Fiji, which used to be my favorite water for the longest time. These are probably the two most available kind of like favorite waters in the tea industry. So we're going to test that out after we make some water. Yay! Now I know the word making water is kind of weird. We're not actually making water. We're just reformulating a water that's been stripped of other minerals in order to make a new formulation of the water. So that's what I mean by making water at home. So let me say hello to a couple of my friends. Ian Ceramics, how's it going, Steven? Tea Sleuth, Ronan, nice to see you. Nessa Olivale, Poor World, Lily de Fleuve, Veronica Hagar, and TJ, how's it going from Las Vegas? We'll be doing a lot of weighing out of little bits of white powder today. So we'll divide this live into two different sections. First, I'm going to teach you how to make the water. So I'll just show you that I'm actually making the water. I'm not cheating by using a water that's already been made. And then we're going to test that water that we make in this little container with these two waters. And then, yeah. You guys voted to test a lighter water today, so let me know which kind of tea, a lighter tea today. So let me know which kind of tea that you'd like to test. We can test a white tea, we can test a green tea, we can test a green oolong. Is there anything that you guys would like or prefer to test out today? I got a white tea from India, I've got a oolong from Taiwan, and I've got some green tea from Japan, and then I got another green tea from China. So let me know which one you'd like to try later on, side by side, because different kinds of waters react differently with different kinds of teas. But while you decide that, let's get going. So what you'll need, and after the live, I'll make a list of this so that you guys know what you need to get if ever you do need to make these waters. You need an empty glass of water, empty glass of air to fill up with the water. You need a scale, and then you need a big fat jug of this stuff. This is reverse osmosis water. So reverse osmosis water, you usually see it referred to as RO water. RO water is basically, I'm not a chemist, I'm not a scientist, but they pass the water through a extensive filtration using osmosis in order to remove the impurities from the water and completely strip it of anything that's there. So basically this is our blank canvas with which we'll be adding our own minerals, because in these bottled waters, every single bottled water, no matter how fancy, is going to have the same kind of components of chemicals like calcium, potassium, silica, magnesium. No matter how fancy it is, it's going to have the same kind of like components, but in different amounts and different ratios. So our journey here is to figure out how to create a water that's just as good, or I think even better, than these bottled waters at home, so that we don't have to pay to, use expensive waters and ship them from like God knows where across, the universe to get it to our tea tables. And then I'll be adding these three components that I'll show you in a little bit. So first thing, you need to weigh out a liter of water. And 1 liter of water, you can use a scale to weigh it out. This tiny scale doesn't weigh up until a liter, which is 1,000 grams. So I'm going to do 4 batches of 250 grams to get to my liter. And why we want to be pretty exact with this is because we're dealing with salts at such tiny quantities that we want to be around the ballpark. So this is 250 milliliters. It's Could be so much pouring in and out of water. Okay. So I'm gonna do this 4 times in order to get my liter of water. And I've created the formula that I have based on 1 liter. That's why we're going 1 liter. But once I publish the ratios, you can scale it up to 10 liters or 5 liters, depending on what you might have at home. And then where I get my RO water, I steal it from the local tea shop. Thanks, Leo at Tea and Whisk. But you can also get this from your grocery stores. You know those glacier waters? If you're in the United States, they're like 39 cents a gallon, which still ends up being a lot cheaper than buying Fiji. Or if you have a reverse osmosis system at home, even better, you can just fill up from your own house. I personally don't have a reverse osmosis system at home yet. I think after this, I've just been so impressed by the performance of the water that I'm gonna have to use a home RO system. But even if you don't want to invest in that yet, you can totally go to the grocery store and refill these guys for 39 cents a gallon, which is, I know, the US sucks. We got gallons and liters. 1 gallon is 3.78 liters or something like that. I've had to make that conversion so many times. Okie dokie. So this is a liter now. Right? Did I do that 4 times? Did I do that 4 times? Steven? Yeah, I did. Dope. Okay. So we got a liter of water, right? Lava the Sheep, thanks for letting me borrow your scale, guys. You guys were over at the Tuesday Tea Club helping me test this out, and I took your scale. You're never having it back. Ever again. Sorry. So for those of you who just joined, we're just formulating water. We have 1 liter of RO water here. And again, RO is like our blank canvas. It's been filtered out, there are no minerals inside, so we can do whatever we want in it. The reason why we don't want to use tap water is because your tap water, no matter how pure it is, even you guys with the magical unicorn snowflake water up in Europe already have things inside your tap water. So you're not starting from zero. By starting from an RO water that has nothing in it, you know exactly what minerals are going into your water. And if you don't like how your water is performing, you're going to be more able to adjust for what you really like to see. And yeah, this is yours, Christine. Sorry! I like it better than my scale, actually. I've been having a lot of oopsies with my scales. Oh, what's up with that? Maybe I just use them too much? Is that why? Okay. So, now we're weighing out a 1:1:1 ratio. I got too excited weighing out powder. 1:1:1 ratio, meaning equal amounts of calcium chloride. I know this is scary sounding stuff, but don't worry. It's all food grade additive stuff that you already have seen in your life, but don't know that you're ingesting it, like me. Epsom salt, which is magnesium sulfate, and calcium chloride. And these 3 bags I bought for, you know, maybe less than 30 bucks. I think less than 20 bucks for all of these. So it's really economical to do this. Now we want to weigh this out to 0.03 grams per, ooh, that's not the right container, per liter. So 0.03 grams, it's a tiny amount. You're going to be using less than you think you need. So that's a little bit too little. And I'll show you guys how little I'm using of each salt at the very end. And how I came to use these particular salts is I checked what the bottled water companies listed on their site for the composition of their bottled waters. And yeah, this is basically the stuff that they have in their waters naturally occurring. We're just adding it in for our own purposes. Still not there. Now we there? Come on, scale. That's too much. This is why I don't have an exact formula out yet, is because I don't have a good enough scale to tell me if I'm in the right ballpark. Okay, that's pretty good. Then you're gonna toss this. Look at this tiny amount of salt that we're using per liter. It's not that much. So make sure that the stuff that you're using to weigh this out is really clean, because if you're using like a salt shaker or like a spoon that you're using for your avocados earlier, you're gonna mess up the TDS of your water pretty bad. And I'm gonna make sure to shake that up in a little bit. So we put in sodium carbonate, which is soda ash. This is about $9 for 2 pounds on Amazon. So really, really cheap. Next thing we'll put in, and it doesn't matter what order you put it in, we're gonna put 0.03 grams of Epsom salt. And Epsom salt's pretty heavy, so you don't need it much. Again, we're gonna use tiny, tiny, tiny amounts of this stuff. Tiny, tiny, tiny amounts. And a critical thing that I need to work on here is I need to get a better scale for all this stuff so that we're ready to target. A 0.01 degree difference on these is going to change the amount of minerals you have in your water by quite a bit. But what's interesting is that even if I see a fluctuation between the amount of minerals, because my scale isn't exact, or Christine's scale isn't exact, thanks Christine, it's okay, because it's less about exactly what your TDS is. TDS is, again, amount of dissolved solids per liter, and more about the ratio and what you're actually putting inside of it. So even if I'm off by like quite a large percentage, maybe like 20%, 10 to 20% sometimes, I find that I still get a good result with the taste. And if you find that your water is still a little bit too hard tasting, you can always add a little bit more RO water to soften it. Okie dokie. And then this is calcium chloride. So 3 components: calcium chloride, sodium carbonate, and magnesium sulfate, Epsom salts. So those are my 3 components that I'm using. All really lovely white powders that I actually once packed to a tea festival in Seattle. And I didn't know that my calcium chloride, which is why it's all messed up like this, exploded in my bag. And I got through TSA with oodles of white powder coating all of my stuff without anyone noticing. What is up with that? No one stopped me. But they will stop and check my tea. So, I don't know what's up with that. So now we're just shaking this water. And I'm not sure if you probably can't see through camera, but there's still little particles of water. I mean, little particles of salt that are dissolving. You have to wait for those to dissolve. Give them a little jostle, but they're there in such tiny amounts that they'll dissolve pretty quickly. And then a common question, because this has happened before to me, is that when you add the salts in, will they kind of fall to the bottom? Will they participate out? Meaning, like, will the water get cloudy and stuff? If you're weighing it correctly, this water should not get cloudy. I've had issues with it getting cloudy if I got lazy, I'm just eyeballing the amount. But if you're using the correct ratio, if you're using the correct ingredients, you shouldn't get cloudy water. And you can always just give it a shake, just to make sure that everything's dissolving and incorporating. And this baby should be within 80 to 120 TDS for each liter, okay? That's the target amount that I got because I've always liked waters, like bottled waters that are around that amount. So that's all the bottled water testing that I've been doing for all these years, is getting us to figure out which bottled waters we like so that we can copy it ourselves. What's great is that this is like $2, even if you get the big Fiji water, you know? How is this $2? Maybe like $1.50 for the small one. But Fiji is like $1.99 a liter. This guy, even if you buy the RO water from the store, even if you don't have a RO filter at home, this ends up being like 0.001, like not even a cent per, actually it is 10 cents per liter if you do buy it from the store. But if you have an RO water filter at home, it becomes like less than a cent per liter. So 10 cents per liter versus $1.99 per liter is a pretty big deal, I think. So I'm really happy, and I think that this water performs even better than Fiji and Poland Spring based on what we saw this week at Tea Club. But don't take my word for it. we should test it. Yeah? Then you all said, I don't have Korean green tea, Eric. Sorry, I'm not that special. Plus, I don't want to use Korean green tea for such a lackadaisical test. Korean green tea is holy. You can't use it for tests. Esther, green oolong or white? I don't mind that. Green oolong or white? You guys decide. In the next, like, couple seconds. So we'll do the Tea Curious water. We will do the Fiji water. And then we will do Poland Spring. And again, I'm picking these two waters because these are some of the waters that people talk about online a lot. Other ones that get thrown out a lot include Volvic. I also like Trader Joe's Artesian water. That's my favorite bottled water. Y'all in Italy have amazing water all the friggin' time. But I think my water beat the Italian water in our tests. So we'll see. Okay. You guys ready for this? T Epiphany, nice to see you. How's it going? Tyler from Hakuna Matala, are those water refill stations at the grocery store usually RO with no minerals? From what I understand, they should be purified. I'm not sure if they're RO. So the difference between purification and RO is that there's different ways of purifying water. You can distill it, you can reverse osmosis filter it, you know. So I'm not sure how they get those waters purified at those stations at the grocery store here in the United States. What I do know is that when I test them with my TDS meter, they tend to be pretty pure. You know, anywhere between 0 to maybe 10 to 20 TDS. And for those of you who are like, what the hell is this TDS thing? It's just a measurement of how many parts per million minerals are dissolved in a bit of water. So it's a tiny amount, but those minerals are doing huge things to our water and to the taste of our tea. I can't believe I haven't said the word tea yet in regards to all of this. I personally would be okay with using the grocery store RO water because it's pretty close to being 0. Even if you have an RO filter at home, if you haven't changed the filter in a little bit, it might scale up to like 10 to 20 if it's been a while since you've changed it. So I think it's okay. I would use it. This is all in the interest of like making it easier. So while this part is like, oh my god, there's so much going on, once I've gotten to the habit of making my water at home and I don't agonize if the water is completely 0 at the store or they haven't changed the filter in a while, so it's 5 to 10, my results are really good. And at the end of the day, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a chemist, I'm not a water expert, but my taste tells me what's good, and I'm really excited to share this water with you. So let's test stuff. Let's go ahead and test white tea, since y'all meaning Ronan and Esther and Steven, decided to. Let's test it out. Round 2 of our live. Wow, thanks for doing the little ding thing. Little fairness pictures. So we will test these 3 waters, the Re-water, the Fiji water, and the Poland Spring water. Poland Spring is a lighter water, Fiji is a little bit heavier. This one's right down the middle. So let's weigh this baby out. We will be using, let's not preheat these because it's difficult to preheat with 3 different waters. So we'll use, as long as you're consistent in your experiments, we'll use the same glass pitchers, but not preheated. And they've been rinsed out with RO water before this. And then we will use, what the hell is that? Oh my gosh, what is that? Guys, what even is that? Sorry, we're talking about water, but like, look what fell in my white tea. What is this? What is this? I was about to tell you who it was from too. What is this? I've seen a lot of things in my tea, but I don't know what this is. Does anyone know what this is? Looks like corn. Is that corn? Steven, is that corn? What is that? What is that? Okay. It's not a fly! Oh my god, get out of here! We'll do 150 grams without the fly corn kernel thing. It looks like some kind of grain, right? I have no idea what that is, but I'm only weirded out by it because I've never seen it in something like that before. I've seen a lot of shit in tea, but I've never seen that before. Yeah, okay then. I put the contaminated fly tea with the Tea Curious water, so don't worry, I'm not gonna cheat. Alright. So we're weighing out a white tea to test between these 3 waters. 1.5 grams each. Okay, which one do you want to start with? Which one should we start with? Let's start with Poland Spring first. Poland Spring is the lightest water. And I want to do that because when you're testing different waters, there might be a little bit of residue in between each. I am going to rinse my kettle out in between each steep or each boil so that there's no residue from the previous water in the kettle. But might as well start with the lighter water. Lightest first, right? Alright. And then I will weigh this out also. Gosh, there's so much weighing out of stuff. Alright. We will use 150 ml. 151. Okay, that's good enough for me. And while I wait for that to boil, I'm gonna chill out and answer any questions. What have I missed? Let's see. Entertainer. Marco, it's so nice to hear from you. Let's see. Really interesting. I can't follow the tasting session right now, but I'll try to watch on tomorrow. On train. Have a good day too. Sending the values of the spring water I'm using it right now in DM. I'm not working on water right now, but every 4 to 5 months I look out for other waters and make comparisons. So for the record, the best water I've ever tasted in my life, by far, is from Italy. And when I went to Italy, with the help of Marco from Entertainer, and my other friends from Turin, from Torino, they were like, oh my god, you love water? We love water too. And they like gave me these amazing waters from their springs up there. And let me tell you, I have been doing so many tests of bottled water from the United States, like available here in the States until then. But something about Italian water is incredible. And even in the last couple water tests that I've done, it's just you guys have really good water. And if you guys are tuning in from like Sweden or Norway or Finland or even Germany in certain parts, you might be like, why are they even doing all this water stuff? I should have told us in the very beginning, go home. Don't worry about it. It's not important to you guys. You guys have really good water. Okay. We'll test these out. Pouring the same way. If you guys were here for our pouring test, remember that the way that you pour into the vessel will change the way the tea tastes, which sucks. Okay. Another thing. Eric Yellow Cake. Somebody ate over that tea. It's possible. So this is going to steep here. And then Ronan says, I remember you packed some water in your suitcase. I did pack some water in my suitcase. Those guys sent me home with like all the waters in the world. It was pretty incredible. I'm just going to rinse out the kettle here. Oh, that smells really good. And then we're going to boil our Fiji water to try out. Ooh, I need to weigh this! I need to weigh this! Oh my gosh! See, this is why water tests take so much time, guys. I like have done this over and over again, like a bazillion times. Spending all the money, weighing all the things, doing all the disappointing tests when my water, what am I doing? 150, not 250. And why I'm weighing out the water is I want to make sure that they're fair. Okay, cool. I will, though, let these sit instead of fishing them out. Okay. Any other questions? Esther E. Blanc. Come in Quebec, we have the best water in the world. I would like to see you guys have a showdown with Norway and Sweden and Finland and all those guys, because whenever I do water stuff, they're the ones who are like, why? Yeah. Why? Eric, thanks for doing this. I don't have the patience. Dude, I don't have patience either, but we were talking about TDS earlier, and in comparison to these waters, the water that I make, this is 80 to 120. Here out my measurements here. This one, the Fiji, most recently measured out at 120. The bottle says 222. So it varies even within the waters that we get commercially. And then Poland Spring measured for us at, gosh, how much did Poland Spring measure out? Where's my laptop? I took notes, guys. I promise. How much did Poland Spring measure out to? I'm gonna check that a little bit. Fiji going in. I should have warned you that if you're trying to go to the bathroom because you're on the commute on the train or something, you probably shouldn't listen to this live. A lot of pouring water noises. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Steven. Poland Spring measured out for us at 21 TDS. So 21 TDS, 120 TDS. This is 80 to 120. Numbers. Vegas water measures out at 530 TDS, okay? So 5 to 6 times at least the amount of our created water here, which is insane. Just a stupid amount of minerals. And what happens is it's just too hard. When your water's too hard, you mute the taste of your tea. And then ooh, thanks, sorry. I need to weigh this. I doing a water test all week, guys. Gosh, we were at Tuesday Tea Club until 11:30 at night. Wine. It's okay, I love it. But don't worry, I think Tuesday Tea Club, I was totally on it. I used all of my patience on that day. But we definitely made sure, with the help of our very picky Tea Club friends, that things were measured out correctly, experimental variables were good. Yeah. Alright. Now while waiting for this water over here, I'm actually going to start testing these waters. These teas. Okay. You guys ready? Ooh, look at the difference in the color! It's my favorite thing to say. See how this over here has been brewing for longer, but this here is cloudier? Isn't that insane? I like to show the color of water because it's the most striking difference that people see. And this is why I don't care that I'm not controlling for the amount of time that these teas are being steeped. I know this tea can take being steeped a long time. And it's more the profile that I'm looking for. And even if this has been steeping longer, it has more clarity than this one here. This one's more cloudy, more thin looking. Do you see that? This one's more yellow, this one's more dull. It's not just the lighting either. You can see that even if I switch it, this is still the more clear one, this is still the more dull one. So let's try it. I'm gonna preheat with this tea. This is an Indian tea, by the way. It's been modeled after white peony. I'm just gonna tell you who it is. I don't think he's gonna care that there was whatever this was inside the tea. I mean, Raj knows that this is what the tea world's about, right? At least it looks organic. It really just looks like a seed, to be honest with you. This is Kuman White from Young Mountain Tea. It's one of my favorite teas from India. India doesn't have a lot of white teas that I love, but I really, 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 really love this tea. So, Raj, thanks for letting me try the Kuman White. You know I love this tea very, very much. Thanks, Steven. And then we do a last pour. And again, for you guys who just come in, we're testing out a water that I've created using added minerals and RO water with water that you can buy from the store. And then after I steep these hot, I'm actually gonna wait for them to cool down, because once the teas are cooled down, you can actually get a pretty good representation of what's going on there with them. Okay, let's try this guy. Actually, I'm going to stir these, because the tea at the bottom is more concentrated. I'm going to wait for this guy to steep. And I'm going to wait a couple minutes before tasting this one, just to allow for the water temperature to cool down. All right. Cheers. So this is Poland Spring with Indian white tea. This guy. It's from Maine. Surrounded by pine trees, hidden in the woods of Maine, is a source of Poland Spring origin. So no, it's not from Poland, it's from Maine, it's from America. Here beneath the surface, our spring water filters through 10,000-year-old glacial sands. We noticed that the waters tend to like to compete against who has the longest amount of time being filtered through glacial sands and volcanic something something. 10,000-year-old glacial sands, okay? Fiji, ooh, Fiji. Tropical range slowly filters through volcanic rock as it gathers the electrolytes and minerals that give Fiji water its signature soft, smooth mouthfeel. Yeah. They like doing that. That's not even the most ridiculous of them. That's pretty tame. Okay, so Poland Spring right now, Steven from Green Ceramics, I'm going to ask you to don't tell me what you think about this, but type it out so that I'm not biased, okay? I'm having Steven try it too, because he has no voice. He can't speak. So it's actually really good. I actually like the performance of this tea in this water. It's soft, it's a little bit tart. There's a tiny bit of dryness. The big issue that I notice is that it's got a roughness, kind of like on the finish. But it's very, very soft. It reads very, very well with Poland Spring. So I'm kind of nervous. I'm gonna have to beat that with my water. We'll see. I haven't tested out my water side by side with other waters for white tea yet. So this is good. Yeah, that's a really good manifestation of this tea. I'm nervous. I'm gonna have to beat this water. Because now that I've beat other waters in the oolong test, I'm gonna, nervous. Okay. So Poland Spring, honestly, was really good with this tea. Poland Spring did not perform well with black tea in our test this week. It also didn't perform well with the oolong, honestly, but it performed really, really badly with the black tea, from what I remember. I think what it is, it's too light of a water. It does better with lighter teas, so it's good that it's performing well here, but we want a water that performs well with many different kinds of teas, because you want to just have it on the go, right? You know? Next one. This is Fiji. So we're going from glacial sands to volcanic rock. So it's a little cloudier, it's a little duller in the color. I like the color of the Poland Spring a lot more. It's dead. There's nothing inside. There's nothing. It died. I'm sorry, guys. This tea just died with the Fiji. Rest in peace. I'm serious. There's nothing. I mean, it's soft. It's very textural, but it's dead. There's nothing. There's no life. Code blue. At least it's sweet. It's almost like, you know, when you rinse... God, why do I even know what this tastes like? I don't think I know what this tastes like. But I think this tastes like what would happen if you rinsed out a bowl of vanilla ice cream and then drank it with the rinse water. So it's just got a tiny bit of sweetness, but you just know it's not alive anymore. So that's really, really... That's a poor showing from Fiji, I would say. It does have a pretty nice aftertaste, but it's just so dead in the water that it's sad. I want to see what Steven said about the first tea. First one, initially good. It's a pretty good start, good sweet flavor, soft but not silky, not particularly fragrant. Yeah, okay. So Poland Spring is our first winner so far. Fiji, no, we died. And what's happening here is that because Fiji is a harder water, it's muting a lot of the flavors and brightness that I expect from this tea. Again, there's that really, really nice aftertaste coming through afterwards, but it's just dead. And when you have water that's a little bit too heavy for the tea, like this white tea here, white teas tend to like a little bit softer water than a black tea might, or a pu'er. Yeah, it's just dead. What sucks is that the aftertaste is really nice, and I'll tell you why I think the aftertaste is really nice for Fiji in a little bit, because there's going to be a part 2 next week, because I'm not done with the formula yet, but hey, I'll tell you why. It's going to be about minerals. And that's the cool thing about making our own water. We're now aware of what the minerals are actually doing to the tea, instead of guessing what's inside the bottled waters and just hoping to God that it tastes good this time. Okay, now I'm nervous. Third one's my water. Please, God, please make it taste good after all this time in public. Because it always tasted good when I'm alone and not streaming. So what am I gonna do? Okay, let's try it. It's also dead. I think it died also. Why? Steven, am I right?
Yeah.
Why is it dead? Why is it dead with this water? Okay, so now I know that my formula doesn't work with white tea, but it works just fine with oolong. Okay, so my formula does not go well with white tea, but I promise it does go well with oolong. What do I do? So this is the reality of it. We tested this water with black tea and oolong, and it tastes really good. But in this case with the white tea, I think it's pretty dead. I think it's a little bit more alive than the Fiji, but the Poland Spring's a lot better of a water for white tea in this case. Yeah, it's not the result I wanted, and I'm gonna be honest about it, but yeah. If you made a water with me, don't use it for white tea until I figure it out. Yeah. I think maybe what's happening here. Let's figure out what's happening here. White tea is on the top level of the spectrum, and oolong and black tea are towards the bottom end of the spectrum. And we've seen that this water, not just from me, but from 4 different people, performed well from oolong to black tea. Which kind of makes sense that it does well with oolong to black tea. It can't go all the way to white tea. Maybe just a little bit too heavy for the white tea. Just like the Fiji, there is a nice aftertaste coming through, and it's not horrible. Like, I'm not saying that this is worse than tap water, but it's pretty empty. Now, I can't prove it to you on stream, but what this water does with oolong is completely different. It makes the oolong super fragrant, it makes the oolong super expressive and delicious and savory and floral, and the aftertaste comes through. Same thing with the black tea, but in this case, not with white tea. Which sucks, because, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Use this water for oolong and black tea. Now, I'm disappointed but not entirely surprised that this water doesn't do well with every single tea. In the future, I would like to formulate a water for every single kind of tea in order to match well with it. And this is certainly not a bad water. Basically, if you're using Fiji for brewing white tea, you would have gotten a similar, even worse result than using this water. So this is a usable water for white tea too, but we need to figure out a way to make it taste better with white tea the way it does with oolong and black tea. Now, what's great about this is we can actually try to reduce the amount of minerals in it by adding more RO water. Can you give me the RO water, please? Thanks. I'm like sweating. It's like, why are you not working? Oh my god! I feel like one of those inventors who unveils their product and it doesn't work at the last second. So what we'll do here to troubleshoot, I'm going to use RO water to try to make this water lighter to see if it does better with white tea. Hey, I wish it worked too, okay? Like, we were so sure. We tested 12 different friggin' waters on Tuesday, and it was fine. But today it doesn't want to do stuff because we're on stream? Are you kidding me? But I'm gonna be honest with you. And we can troubleshoot together and pray. And we can try a couple different prayers too. If you're Christian, can you pray in Christian? If you're Buddhist, can you pray in Buddhist? I know it's not a thing, but... Alright, so what's going to happen is by adding the RO water to this, we should be getting a water that's lighter than originally. We'll do an unexpected last test here. With the lighter water. I'm sweating so hard, guys. My life right now, wait, I didn't even weigh this. I'm stupid. Let's weigh this out. So for those of you who are just coming in, I'm trying to troubleshoot my water that's not performing on this big day that I'm trying to share with you guys. I promise this water is amazing with oolong and black tea. I just used it like right before this. Okay. Softened. So I'm not sure this is going to work, but I have done this before to waters that are too heavy to see if they'll perform better this way. And we'll see what happens. This is good. Now we're just on stream formulating the second generation of waters for Tea Curious, which, again, I would like to formulate a water for every single type of tea, because in the coffee world, not only do they have formulas for coffee, they have formulas for espresso. And I think Steven noted from Yoon Ceramics that it wasn't great with matcha. the one tea that we've noticed we don't like this water with is matcha, because it seems to make it sour and it seems to make it clump more than usual. So we gotta troubleshoot that. But I'm honestly extremely happy with this tea and oolong and black tea. Let's see how it does with white tea. Okay. Esther, so for white and green, a lighter water would be preferable. We should try this water with green. Yes. We should try this water with green. That's why we tested it on Tuesday with a lighter oolong and a black tea. I guess the problem here is that we didn't skew light enough for this particular formula, because white, you know, has a lot different flavor profiles, and even green oolong and green tea are very different. So let's test the shebang out. You know what? Maybe it's because this kernel thing was in the tea that I used for the tea curious water. That's probably what that is, right? Bah humbug. And yes, Esther, to answer your question, in short, yes, we need to test this with green tea. I thought that it had enough range on Tuesday, but I think I just got ahead of myself because, you know, green oolong and green tea, but I shouldn't be surprised because no water I've ever tested has done the absolute best with all teas. There hasn't been a single water that does well with every single kind of tea. Even my favorite water, New Zealand Artesian, I will lighten up sometimes for light teas. Okay. Hail Mary. So this here is the impromptu fourth test. This is the water that I formulated, but I made it lighter. And I made it lighter by adding more reverse osmosis water to the mix, which will reduce the total amount of minerals there. Okay. And then we'll wait and see. Okay. Well, waiting for this last one. What time is it right now? Do we have enough time for this fourth test? Just make sure. It is... Don't want to accidentally end this. Okay, we got 10 minutes. Good. Alright, that's enough time for this to steep. Let's test these out again. We did this last Tuesday as well for our tests. The taste of the tea after it's been cooled is very illuminating as to what the quality of the tea is. Just because when you have hot water or warm water, a lot of teas very easily taste good when the water is hot. It's when it cools down, just like anything else. The more of use you can do for a tea, and the better it performs, the better the actual tea and the brewing is. So we'll try it out cold to see what the actual results are. I'm honestly just buying time for this one to steep. The Poland Spring is so good. I'm really upset because I totally kicked Poland Spring's ass on Tuesday with the water that we made. Right? Christine, Alex, Steven? You guys were there. We totally, yeah, it was really good. But today Poland Spring is kicking my ass. It's sweet, it's nutty, it's soft, it's rounded, and again, the tiniest issue I have with it is the finish is a little bit rough. This is Poland Spring. So, okay, Poland Spring, you got me on the white tea. Extremely tasty. Really, really good. And then we will try the Fiji water again. Cool down. Alex from Lab with the Sheep. You were there, guys! Oh, you were there with me! You like my water too! It just means there's more work to be done. And yeah, I shouldn't have been so excited that it would do good with every single tea, because no water does perfectly with every single tea. The components in each tea will react differently to the minerals in the water, so there's almost no way that a tea that does well with one thing will do well with another thing. It's almost like using an equalizer or a filter for music or for a photo. Even your favorite photo filter, Instagram filter, equalizer, like setting on your headphones will not be good for every single kind of music, every single kind of picture. So the same case is here, where not every single water, unfortunately, there's no water that will do well with every single kind of tea, is what I mean. The Fiji's still dead. Yeah, rest in peace. Fiji does amazingly with darker teas, but not with lighter teas. The texture is really good. It's very soft, but there's no flavor at all whatsoever. Okay, back to my formula again. This is the original formula that I made that we have now seen is not good with oolong. I mean, it's not good with white tea, but is okay with oolong and black tea. It's dead. It's better than the Fiji, for sure. It's better than the Fiji, but it's still not good, and we want it to be good. It's a little dry. It's just not working for the white tea. So if you're here for the first part of the water test, the water that we made earlier, don't use it for white tea. It's just not a good match. It's just not working. Now, I know some time has passed between this one here and this one here, which is the new steep, but because I also know that this is lighter here and will not get as dark as this one because it's less minerals here in our edited water formula. Checking the Buddha, I saw your message through my picture. We're drinking an Indian white tea with 4 different waters, of which 2 of the waters I made at home. This is the original formula here that we were testing. It actually didn't turn out well, even after I've tested it out a lot with other teas. This is my first time testing it side by side with other waters and white tea, and it shocked me that it didn't do very well. But also not surprised, because yeah, I was already hoping to formulate a different kind of water for every kind of tea. To fix it, we added reverse osmosis water to soften it even more, because generally the lighter the tea, the lighter you want your water. So let's hope it tastes good. Okay, so life came back. Okay, so like, all we did... How is that possible? What is so stupid? Okay, there's finally life that came back into the tea. So this picture here is the tea, I mean the water that I made for you guys at the very beginning of this live. It didn't do well. All I did was to add a little bit more reverse osmosis water to it to soften it. And then I tried it again. And while this was dead, because the water's too hard, this one's just alive. I'm so happy. Yeah, okay, good. Just the small adjustments by making it softer made the tea come to life again. That's crazy. Okay, I'm relieved. And this is what I've done before in the past. Whenever I have had a water that I noticed was killing my tea a little bit, I would add purified or reverse osmosis water back to it to soften it and make it match the tea better. Does that make sense? It's like, again, the heavier the water, usually the better it is for a darker tea. So if you have a heavy water, and this water does so well with oolong and black tea, I just need to lighten it up to make it taste good with white tea. I'm so relieved. Wow, okay. Troubleshooting, guys, it's crazy. Trekking Buddha. Oh, sweet, that's what I use. What do you use? What kind of water do you use? Utah water sucks. Yes, that's actually what all of this is for, is that our water in Vegas is horrific. I'm being really mean to the Fiji water and the original formula right now, saying, oh, it's dead, but at least it's not bitter, astringent, sour. If you're like us in Vegas and your tap water sucks, your water is killing your tea by a lot. And any of these waters will be an improvement, I think. over Vegas water. I don't think we've tested it. Vegas water tastes like chlorine. It's not good. It's just, yeah. So, yeah, wow. All I needed to do was lighten up the water. That's insane. Not insane. I knew that before, but I'm so relieved that the water worked out in the end. Oh my god. Checking Buddha, reverse osmosis. Perfect. If you have reverse osmosis water at home, you can create your own water that you can even customize depending on what kind of tea you're brewing. So I guess what I learned here is that it's better to formulate our water at home darker, for the darker end of the tea spectrum, because if you want to use it for a lighter tea, all you have to do is to add more reverse osmosis water to it to soften it in like a batch, and then use it for your lighter teas. Gosh, I'm so relieved. And why am I relieved? I'm just like, oh my god, did my water that I've been working on this whole time and posted about all this morning and talked about all day on the Discord server, which by the way, if you're not on the Discord server, it's probably a good idea to join. It's on, the link is in my bio if you'd like to join us to talk in detail about these things, if you haven't already. I put so much time into developing this formula using references from the coffee world, and it's not done yet. There's actually one more component that I would like to add to this water, which I will do next week because I'm waiting for one more mineral to arrive, and that mineral is silica. So that's what I was talking about with Fiji. Fiji tends to have a really, really nice texture and aftertaste because it has a really high amount of silica. Compared to almost any other water in the market, Fiji has a lot of silica, and silica is silicon dioxide. I mean, it's chemistry stuff. But I noticed that, and I noticed that a lot of teaware that we use in the tea world that work really, really well with tea have quartz in the clay, or some kind of like silica, volcanic, like pumice, like all of these things have higher amounts of silica in them. Finally, I found that the bamboo charcoal that we all like to use a lot in the tea industry, specifically the ones from China, it seems like, have a high amount of silica. So I was like, okay, I'm finding silica in Fiji, my favorite water. New Zealand artesian water has high silica too. Volvic, which is another favorite in the tea community, has a lot of silica. Some of our favorite clays, you know, with teapots have silica in them. So I think the last thing we need to add for this iteration of the formula, I mean, this works really well, especially after I added the water back in to soften it. It worked well with the white tea. So I'm really, really happy with the result, but we still need to add the silica. And so far, just from testing out, adding silica by, okay, you're gonna think that I'm crazy. I would have thought this was crazy too. Those people who like mineralize their water, like charge their water using stones, they might be onto something, because amethysts and quartz have silica in them. So quartz is almost entirely made of silicon dioxide. And amethyst, from what I understand, is just another form of quartz with more impurities in it, which makes it which makes it purple. So if you put a piece of quartz or amethyst into your water, especially our manufactured water here, it actually makes the texture more round. It makes the aftertaste more pronounced. And it's not because we're, you know, I don't know if it's true. I mean, like, you know, the crystals charge water. I can neither deny or confirm it, but it's releasing silica into the water, I think, which is making it taste the way that Fiji makes water taste. I mean, tea taste. So that's for next week. We're going to use the same water. I'm going to make some tweaks, try to figure out why this water is doing well with white tea, if it's watered down a little bit. And then we're going to figure out how to add silica to this mix. So we essentially get what Fiji, Volvic, New Zealand artesian water all have in common that make tea taste really, really good. So anyway, we're out of time right now. Message me. I have so many things to talk about with you guys. Join the Discord if you'd like to talk with us more. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Bye.